Welcome back. I'm Sarah Lee at the Southwest Center, and I've got another literacy lesson for you today. This is actually part 2 in the series that I started last week about interactive read-alouds. And today we're going to talk about how you get ready to make that interactive read-aloud a great experience for your students with lots and lots of learning. So let's start with what you're going to pick to read. You want to pick a book that's at least one grade level higher than your students that you're reading to. This gives them a chance to hear a lot of advanced vocabulary. Think about what questions you want to ask. You're going to pause at certain places throughout the text, not too often, but definitely a few planned times where you want to ask a really great question that gets kids thinking and then talking. You also want to plan for how you're going to model thinking aloud as you are reading the text. Let them in on what's happening in your mind, what questions you're asking the author, what you're thinking about, predicting, inferring. Plan for those and mark them in the book with a sticky note. You don't have to try to remember it in the moment. Background knowledge. This is huge. You have to know something to learn something. So if you want kiddos to learn through your interactive read aloud, make sure to activate their background knowledge about the setting, the theme, maybe some of the important characters, the time in history. Open the file folder in their mind where they can take this new learning from this text and file it away, connect it to something that they already know. So if they don't have background knowledge that they need to really appreciate the text, provide them with something. And then vocabulary. Look ahead at the text. Think about what's some really important vocabulary you want to stop and focus on during the reading. Incidental vocabulary learning through read-alouds is one of the biggest benefits. Think about words that you want to stop, talk about, define, and help kids learn as you're reading the book. So I said background knowledge is really, really important. Let me give you a few examples of how you can present this background knowledge to kids before you start reading. And I'm going to give you some book titles along the way. So one great way to introduce background knowledge is bring a prop. Bring an item, something that relates to the text, get it in front of the kids, let them look at it, feel it, touch it, and use that as a connection. So in the book, Those Shoes, it's all about some really cool shoes, the fad, the trend, and a kiddo who wants some. Bring in some cool shoes. Bring in something that's a popular trend right now, and then use that as a catalyst to get the background knowledge flowing before you get into that book. Bring in a map or a photo of the setting. If you're reading a book like Boxes for Katya that's set in the Netherlands, your kiddos may not know where the Netherlands are. Get a map. Show them that on the map. Talk about the distance between where you are and where that is. Maybe talk about the time period as well. Another one is pictures. Pictures, this is a nonfiction text. What if you had animal teeth? What about bringing in pictures of animal teeth and letting kids sort and group and categorize and talk about how animals' teeth are different for what function that they serve, maybe even the words to go with the pictures of the teeth. I love this one because of Winn-Dixie. Give kiddos a scenario that's related to the text. Maybe ask them a question like, what would you do if you found a stray dog? Get them thinking about that before you start reading the text. It gives them a personal relation. It gets them a chance to talk about their thoughts, their personal connections, their text to self and text to world connections before you even get into the book. And then four corners. Love enemy pie. It's a favorite that I read a lot to kids. Make a statement such as, it's okay to give someone you don't like a second chance. Put responses, agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Put those responses in the four corners of the room. Have kids to move to the corner that matches their response to that statement. And then that creates discussions about why they answered that way. So these are just some quick ways you can get background knowledge going before you get into that great text for the read aloud. Happy reading.